months as Queen Elizabeth II died at age 96 after reigning for 70 years. And the intrigues in the PDP continues. Senator Yocha Ayu stays in office. BOT chairman, Senator Jibril, resigns. But Governor Wike is not happy with the situation. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimbaloe. We are following breaking news for you. The global attention is on what is happening in the United Kingdom. As the United Kingdom mourns as Queen Elizabeth II, the United Kingdom's longest-serving monarch, has died at age 96 after reigning for 70 years. Looking past at Balmoral earlier today, a family had earlier gathered at a Scottish estate after concerns grew about her health and she needed some close medical attention. The palace released a statement that there were concerns about her health. The Queen came into the throne in 1952 and witnessed enormous social change with her death. Her eldest son, Charles, the former Prince of Wales, will lead the country in mourning as a new king and head of state for 14 Commonwealth realms. In a statement, the Buckingham Palace says, quote, "The Queen died peacefully at Balmoral this afternoon. The King and the Queen consort will remain at Balmoral this evening and will return to London tomorrow." The Queen's children traveled to Balmoral near Aberdeen after doctors placed the Queen under medical supervision. A grandson, Prince William, is also there with his brother, Prince Harry, who is said to be on his way earlier today. It's a global attention to what is happening in the United Kingdom. There will be a transition. The nation is in mourning. Flags are flying at half-mast. And at the moment, let's get live on the ground in London with our correspondent to give us a feel of what is happening. My colleague Juliana Olayinka joins us live from London. Juliana, what a day it's been in the history of the people of the United Kingdom, the world, the Commonwealth at large. Give us a sense of what is happening in the United Kingdom.
Good evening, Shaun. Just repeat the breaking news that just came out of Buckingham Palace about 25 minutes ago, and that is Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II has indeed passed away, and she is survived by her 4 children, her 8 grandchildren, and her 12 great-grandchildren. As you said, we had an earlier statement from Buckingham Palace at 12:30 announcing that they were deeply concerned about Her Majesty's health. And I think that did send shockwaves down the spine of the 67 million British people that live in this country, as well as you quite rightly said, the Commonwealth and much further afield. This is a significant moment in British history, and in fact, in world history. She is the world's longest serving monarch, was the world's longest serving monarch. She was on the throne for 70 years, and throughout that reign, she saw more than 13 US presidents, more than a handful of British prime ministers, including Liz Truss, the newly appointed UK Prime Minister, who was with her on Tuesday, where we last publicly saw Her Majesty the Queen. Buckingham Palace has now put an official statement outside of the palace gates. I'm at home now, though I will, as soon as I've finished speaking with you, swiftly be making my way to Buckingham Palace. We know that flags are flying at half-mast. Who was the heir, Prince Charles, he is now king. The transition of power happens instantly, and the nation is now going into mourning. You know, we are talking about an iconic figure, a figure who, unlike many of the world leaders now who managed to get themselves embroiled in so many issues. The Queen was an individual that was a symbol of not only continuity, she was also a symbol, an iconic symbol of strength and of stay. And this, like I said, is a moment where we pause, take a breath and wait for Operation London Bridge to kick into fruition.
Juliana, I know a lot of activities will be happening, not only at number 10 Downing Street, but also a lot of crowd, we understand, already gathering at the Buckingham Palace. Eyes are on Balmoral. A lot of attention is on that country as we speak. Give us a sense of how all of this is being coordinated. It doesn't look like there is a vacuum. Traditionally, what should we be expecting in the coming hours or days?
Well, as you quite rightly said, I think since we got the first statement from Buckingham Palace, Shaun, which was at 12:30 this afternoon, we already had dozens of individuals flocking to Buckingham Palace. Many tourists were in floods of tears, all sending their thoughts and prayers to Her Majesty. But as I said, since the announcement has been made that Her Majesty the Queen has indeed died this afternoon, there are now hundreds of individuals, and I suspect by the time I get to Westminster there will potentially be thousands. Balmoral, where she has passed away, is in a very remote region, as you can expect, in Scotland, very difficult to get to, which is why we know it took the Duke and Duchess of the Earl and of Wessex and the Duke of York and the Duke of Cambridge such a long time to get there. We're not sure if the Duke of Sussex, Prince Harry, was by her side, but he is always prone to be staying away from the media. So potentially he was there. In the statement that was released by Buckingham Palace earlier, the King and the Queen Consort, that is what Camilla will now be. The Queen confirmed that she would be giving her the title of the Queen Consort. They will stay in Balmoral until tomorrow, and then we expect there to be a huge outpouring of international commiseration with the British royal family. In fact, I suspect that within the next few days, world leaders will be flying into London. The Queen is likely to lay in state in Westminster for a period of between 3 and 4 days, where we will expect hundreds of thousands of individuals to see her and to pay their respects.
She was the very spirit.
As I said, this is still very much breaking news.
All right, Juliana, I do see that we have live pictures from number 10 Downing Street. The new Prime Minister seems to be addressing the press. Let's take a listen to what the new Prime Minister of Britain is saying right now.
On most of our living memories. In return, she was loved and admired by the people in the United Kingdom and all around the world. She has been a personal inspiration to me and to many Britons. Her devotion to duty is an example to us all. Earlier this week, at 96, she remained determined to carry out her duties as she appointed me as her 15th Prime Minister. Throughout her life, she's visited more than 100 countries, and she has touched the lives of millions around the world. In the difficult days ahead, we will come together with our friends across the United Kingdom, the Commonwealth and the world to celebrate her extraordinary lifetime of service. It is a day of great loss, but Queen Elizabeth II leaves a great legacy. Today, the crown passes, as it has done for more than 1,000 years, to our new monarch, our new head of state, His Majesty, King Charles III. With the King's family, we mourn the loss of his mother, and as we mourn, we must come together as a people to support him, to help him bear the awesome responsibility that he now carries for us all. We offer him our loyalty and devotion, just as his mother devoted so much to so many for so long. And with the passing of the second Elizabethan age, we usher in a new era in the magnificent history of our great country, exactly as Her Majesty would have wished, by saying the words, "God save the King."
Stress to just address the people of the United Kingdom on the passing of Queen Elizabeth. And she dare say, at the moment, emotional statement from the UK Prime Minister. And it does look to me, Juliana, that we now have a name from the new monarch, King Charles III. That is perhaps how he's going to be referred to. The Prime Minister did say that offering loyalty and devotion of the people of the kingdom to the new monarch and the new leader, an announcement of a new era in the leadership of the country. What a momentous event for the people of the United Kingdom. A lot of people have grown to see her as a leader. A lot of qualities, of course, that she's brought into the leadership of the country. And just imagine 48 hours or so that the new Prime Minister met her when she got into office. And earlier on in the House of Commons, there was an interruption of the debate on energy about the attention that has gone to the health of the Queen, who passed a few minutes or hours ago. I know you're itching to get on the field, Juliana. Just a moment before you get off, give us an understanding of the sort of a leader Queen Elizabeth was, and perhaps the kind of vacuum that she will be leaving behind, and the kind of leadership she rendered to our people and to the world at large.
Yes, you're right. What a momentous statement, pretty emotional statement delivered just now from the newly appointed Prime Minister Liz Truss, who we know is one of the last senior public individuals to have spent some time, to have been fortunate enough to have spent some time with Her Majesty the Queen on Tuesday, when we last publicly saw her looking incredibly frail. You know, Shaun, I do hope the leaders, you know, of the country are listening, because it was that quality of character, that, you know, strength of character, the fact that she was able to wisely advise so many leaders from across the world, who I'm sure will all be in mourning now because of that continuity, because she was able to relate to so many, including somebody like myself, who, you know, was pretty choked up, I've got to say, when I was speaking to Amarachi and I was speaking to Olamide during the day, talking of the Queen and talking about if the inevitable would happen. I think many countries around the world looked upon Britain with some envy, purely because of the fact that we had such a strong monarch. I think, yes, there has been scandal within that family. You give me a family that doesn't have a scandal, but I think all you need to do is look at those pictures from June during that 4-day Platinum Jubilee celebrations, and the millions of people that came out to show their support towards her, the fact that she was able just a couple of times to stand on that balcony. It does just show the extraordinary woman that she was. She was the first type of global celebrity, global trotting, speaking with people. Some of her main points in history and statements were actually made on the African continent. So it is a very, very sad day, and it is one that is going to come with significant historical change. As the Prime Minister said, we now have a new head of the monarchy, King Charles III. Will he be able to touch the souls of the British public and the Commonwealth like his mother? Absolutely not. There was only one Queen Elizabeth II, and sadly she has died this afternoon at Balmoral Castle at the age of 96.
Indeed, what a day it's been in the history of leadership across the globe. because this is one woman that's shown character and she's so influential. And Nigerians back here in Nigeria will have some memories, especially those who are around at independence and sometimes have several years ago when they welcomed the Queen onto the shores of the country. It's going to be indeed a very big miss for the world, for the United Kingdom, as the people of that country mourn, and of course we'll be hearing reactions across the globe. Let me allow you, Juliana. I know you're going to have your hands full in the coming days about this very global event and the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. Thank you so much, Juliana Olayinka, my colleague there for us in London. Well then, let's check out some of your political roundup stories. And when we come back, our focus will be on the People's Democratic Party in our Nigeria's politics here, about the major opposition party and what is happening. There seems to be a change of command as far as the Board of Trustees of the PDP is concerned. We get to hear more after our political roundup stories.
The African Democratic Congress has suspended 17 chairmen from the party. This was revealed during a press briefing at the party secretariat in Abuja. The embattled national chairman of the party, Ralph Wons, who was removed by another group of the party over expiration of term, says the suspension was as a result of anti-party activities involving the suspended presidential candidate, Mr. Dumebi Kachiku. He stated that the party had been saddled with several challenges over time and has resolved to re-elect new party board of trustees to this effect. Meanwhile, the presidential candidate of the party, Dumebi Kachiku, has promised to represent the party well if voted in as the president come 2023. Kachiku made this promise at an interactive session with the party's state chairman and caretaker committee of the party in Abuja.
Evil has tried for 17 years because good men kept quiet.
The Imo State Governor, Hope Uzodimma, says the APC in the Southeast will not be intimidated by any propaganda or sentiments in choosing who to support in the 2023 presidential elections. Governor Uzodimma disclosed this at a meeting of leaders and stakeholders of the APC in the Southeast, which held in Owerri, the Imo State capital. According to the governor, the APC has all it takes to win the 2023 presidential election with its credible and strong candidate, Ahmed Bola Tinubu.
We cannot sit down here, fold our hands, and trivialize serious issues like governance. Leadership, we have suffered a lot in the hands of trial and error leaders. We need experienced men and women with credible records.
The impeached chairman of the APC in Adamawa State, Mr. Ibrahim Bilal, is insisting that he remains the authentic chairman of the party in the state. Mr. Bilal, in the press statement, notes that only the National Working Committee of the APC has the constitutional right to remove him from office, as stipulated by the guidelines. A factional governorship candidate in Ogun State chapter of the People's Democratic Party, Mr. Segun Shoumi, has denied being sponsored to truncate the chances of the party in the state come 2023. He was speaking against the backdrop and insinuations in some quarters in the state that he was being influenced by the opposition party in the state to cause the current disaffection and infighting in the party in the state.
They didn't follow the extant law, the rules, the regulation, and the simple dictum of fairness, justice, and equity. And that you can't build something on such a weak foundation.
And the meeting of the National Caucus of Nigeria's main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party, ended midnight on Wednesday without a strong position taken on the face-off between some chieftains of the party from the south who are calling for the resignation of the national chairman, Senator Iyorchia Ayu. The meeting, which was held at the Akwa Ibom State Governor's Lodge in Abuja, had the presidential candidate of the party, Atiku Abubakar, in attendance, along with other prominent members of the party, including Chief Olabode George, former Vice President Namadi Sambu, former Governor of Jigawa State Sule Lamido, as well as the party's national chairman, Iyorchia Ayu.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us tonight. We're going to be discussing the situation in the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and the matter that has also gotten the attention of many Nigerians, and that is the menace of oil theft. One organization is paying the Sanders, taken to the street, and they are unhappy about the situation. Millions and millions of dollars have been lost to oil theft in Nigeria. Well, let's first and foremost talk about the People's Democratic Party and what has happened today. The neck of the PDP, the National Executive Council, has passed a vote of confidence on Senator Yocha Ayu, suggesting that the party chairman will stay in office. But what has happened differently from that was the fact that the chairman of the Board of Trustees, Senator Wali Jibrin, resigned his position, with Senator Wabara taking over as the interim or the acting BOT chairman. The motion for the vote of confidence in the PDP National Working Committee was moved by the minority leader of the House of Representatives, Honorable Undudi Elumelu, at the BOT and NEC meeting which held earlier today in Abuja. We understand that more of those consultations are still continuing. Let me allow you to listen to some of the soundbite that came out of that meeting. First, take a listen to the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum and the governor of Sokoto State, Governor Tambuwa, alongside with the acting chairman of the Board of Trustees of the PDP, Senator Wabara.
It is worthy of us to once again take and relive the message of Oshun election, which I believe, by the grace of God, is going to resonate in every nook and cranny and corner of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I call on INEC to sustain the improvement in the electoral process, and I must commend President Muhammadu Buhari for what he told my colleagues, the governors of the APC, when they went to him, that he is going to ensure that there is free and fair election in Nigeria. We must, as people of goodwill, as believers in democracy, encourage President Muhammadu Buhari and indeed INEC and all security agencies to ensure that we have free, fair, transparent election in 2023.
I want to suggest to us, or advise us, that we should always debrief ourselves in-house. Debrief ourselves in-house. No matter what the anger is, let us debrief ourselves in-house rather than playing to the gallery. We should watch and control our utterances, because by and large, we don't know. It's only God that knows tomorrow. So I want to beg all of us, we should emulate our leader. Do anything to him, he doesn't react.
Senator Adolphus Wabara, who is now the acting Board of Trustees chairman of the People's Democratic Party after Senator Wali Jibrin resigned his position. There's another set of soundbite that I'll allow you to listen to, because all of these are going to be very important for our conversation with my guest tonight. And it's that of the candidate, presidential candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, and that of the chairman of the PDP, who is saying in office, as against the agitation in some quarters in the party, that he should bow out or step aside as the national chairman. Let me allow you to listen to both of them.
As a political party, we have our constitution, we have our rules, we have our regulations. I want to urge that no matter the level of disagreements, our disagreements should be resolved within our constitution, within our rules, within our regulations, and within the precedents we have already set up for conflict resolution. We have all what it takes to guide us to continue to nurture this political party, to provide a platform for all Nigerians to realize
their collective and individual aspirations. Therefore, I wish to appeal to all members of our party to make sure that all our agreements are resolved internally. We have rules, we have regulations, we have precedents, and supreme, we have the constitution of our party to guide us.
Being in the family, sometimes you have family disagreement and we settle. And this party is famous for settling all disagreements and going on to win elections in the past. This time is not an exception. I'm happy that the Nigerian people are interested in our party, and are interested not because we disagree among ourselves, but in our capacity to deliver when we take over power.
Plus is the chairman of the PDP, Senator Yocha Ayu, and the presidential candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar. Governor Wike is one pressing that is reacted to some of the development that came out of some of the meetings today. Allow you to also listen to him.
Ayu said if the presidential candidate comes from the north, that he will resign. But the convention of our party, that the candidate of our party, the chairman of our party, will come from the south. When the North Central met in the house of Governor Balak Mohammed, Governor of Bauchi State, he said so there. When he made the caucus of the Senate, he told them that when we finish our convention on a Saturday to Sunday, the candidate of the party came to see me in my house in Abuja on Monday, around 10:30 a.m. And that is what I don't like in this country. The candidate told me, I said, listen, I want us to work together. And then he said, look, you must go. I said, why? He said, because when a candidate comes from the north, the chairman will come from the south. And I'm saying, implement what you told me. What offense have I committed? What offense have I committed? This is what he told me. I challenge the president candidate to deny this. They have today told the BOT chairman to resign. Who is talking about chairman of BOT? What is the role of the BOT? BOT is an advisory body. We have never zoned BOT. But what we are saying, the position we are talking about, which all of us agree, is the chairman of the party. As it is today, it's the presidential candidate or president and chairman of the party. The chairman of the party and the candidate or president, as the case may be, are those who will sit down and take decisions. The candidate is from the north. The chairman is from the north. Who will represent the south in decision making? I will continue to fight this fight. This injustice is enough. We cannot continue to swallow this.
Governor Yinsom Wike there. Let's take 1 minute before we go on break and get some reactions. I'm being joined by a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party, Mr. Muhammad Jamu. Thank you so much indeed for coming tonight.
Thank you, Shaun.
What is happening in your party?
Thank you so much, Shaun. Before I talk about my party, I want to join all the world leaders and people around the world in sharing our condolences with the people of the United Kingdom over the demise of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth. It's a big shock, but that is life, and we must move on, and at the same time congratulate the people of the United Kingdom for their succession policy. Already King Charles III is the new king, so we congratulate them at the same time. What is happening in the People's Democratic Party is a lot, and to put it succinctly, I can just tell you it is a challenge of leadership that we are having within the party. When I say a challenge of leadership, I am talking about the core leadership, and I'm referring directly the bulk stops at the desk of the national chairman of the party, Mr. Yocha Ayu. When a lot of people are making claims and counter claims over Mr. Yocha Ayu to resign or to stay in office, you must get closer before you can really understand the happenings. Let me just give you a little background before I even come to what is happening now. When Iocha Ayu took over the reins as the chairman of the People's Democratic Party, shortly in his days in office, we started being faced with issues of people defecting from the party. We had Senator Hassan from Yobe who defected, a former senator, and then Senator Emmanuel Bocha. And then we had Rabiu Musa Konkoso who was even about to defect from that party. I went to Mr. Iocha Ayu. I sat down with him. The national vice deputy chairman, Mr. Taufik Arapaja, was there. The deputy national chairman North, Mr. Damagun, was there. The national organizing secretary of the party, Umar Batura, was there. I was the fifth person. And I drew his attention. I said, Mr. Chairman, under your reign, already we have lost 2 people. And now we are about to lose Rabiu Musa Konkoso. Let's not make that mistake of losing people from this party. You have to stand up. And to my biggest surprise, the only thing that came out of the national chairman was that since he emerged as chairman, so many people have called and come to the office or residents to congratulate him. But Rabiu Musa Konkoso did not come to congratulate him. I said, oh, Mr. Chairman, you are missing a point. If Rabiu Musa Konkoso did not come to congratulate you, but he took his delegates and himself, they came all the way from Kano to affirm your leadership as chairman, did you call Rabiu Musa Konkoso to thank him for risking his life and his delegates to come and congratulate you? I'm just trying to give you a background of things that have been happening.
You're claiming that there is a leadership problem.
Leadership problem.
One, we wonder that the decision of the BOT and the NEC today perhaps should douse the tension. Yeah. It does not look like Governor Wike is satisfied. And some, in some quarters in the party, they don't seem to be satisfied. We'll find out why they're not satisfied and perhaps a lasting solution to what has become a major internal wranglings in the PDP. But we need to take a break. Mr. Jamu, stay with us. We'll take a break, everyone. And when we come back, don't forget, we'll be speaking with Mr. Jamu on these internal wranglings of the PDP. And of course, we have guests to discuss the oil theft. Why are we losing such an amount of money and what can we do? Stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Mr. Muhammad Jamu is a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party and is giving us reactions to what has become a very interesting and controversial period for the People's Democratic Party. Thank you so much indeed. When we think that, look, the decision of NEC today, which is ultimate, that is the highest organ of the party, and they have affirmed Senator Iocha Ayu, but Governor Wike is saying the candidate, based on the convention of the party, said, look, if you are the presidential candidate from the north, the chairman should not come from the same region of the country. Yeah. But where does the party go from here?
Well, for as long as we continue having Mr. Iocha Ayu as the chairman of the party, that moral question will continue hanging over the head and towering high at the top of the People's Democratic Party. This is a gentleman who by himself, without anybody's prompting, went to different forums and different meetings and assured party men that for as long as I remain the chairman of the People's Democratic Party and a northern candidate emerges as the candidate to fly the flag in the presidential contest, I will step down. So what Governor Wike and other members of the People's Democratic Party are saying, they are just drawing attention to people and to Mr. Iocha Ayu on the issue of morality. And then at the same time, the issue of self-belonging. We are at a time where the country is being faced with division. We are so divided within religious and regional groupings. So if the party is being faced with such, the best way to unify and keep the party and give everybody that sense of belonging is for Mr. Iocha Ayu to respect his own words. Let his own words be his own bond.
But if you're talking about balancing and fairness in terms of the regional spread of positions, the chairman of the Board of Trustees has resigned. There are references to the national chairman of the Board of Trustees, the national chairman of the party, the presidential candidate from the north. Now we have a southeasterner, Senator Adolphus Wabara, as the chairman of the Board of Trustees. Isn't that enough?
Well, the Board of Trustees is nothing but just a mere advisory body. How many times have you ever seen the Board of Trustees of any political party taking decision? I think it is only PDP that even has the Board of Trustees. Go to the other political parties and check. The national, and check, do they even have the Board of Trustees? The APC, since the APC was formed, they have a body called the Board of Trustees. Up to today, it has not even been inaugurated. So when you're talking about the Board of Trustees, it's just a mere advisory body. But the day-to-day running of a political party is being run by the leadership of the party, which is led by the national chairman.
So the decision of Senator Jibril will not douse the tension?
It will not douse the tension. The only thing that can give it that balance is for Mr. Iwocha Ayu to respect his words. Let his words be his bond at this time.
But it doesn't look like that may be happening anytime soon.
Well, we want to win election. Are we not a party that is willing to win election? Doesn't he want Mr. Atiku Abubakar and Mr. Okowa to emerge as the president and the vice president, the same way that we want that to happen? If that is what we want, he should be the one that should even lead by saying, for this party to succeed, if those agitations are because of me,
so
let me step down.
He gave a condition for stepping down. He says if the party wills that he should step down, that he will. But today, the NEC, which is the highest organ of the party, has said he should stay in office. And so, he's keeping to his word. The party didn't say he should step down.
Well, who chairs the NEC? You cannot be a judge in your own case. The NEC meeting is being chaired by the national chairman. So definitely, for him sitting down at the NEC meeting where such issues can be discussed, it can be teleguided to his own.
What's the way forward for your party?
The way forward is very simple. We should have, going forward, a national working committee that can be able to move around, not the presidential candidate only. The presidential candidate has been trying on his own accord, going to meet Governor Wike and others, going to meet Governor Wike and others in UK, in Nigeria and other places. But what time did you ever hear that the National Working Committee of the party is moving around to draw party members back?
Mr. Jamo, we must leave it at this because we still have another business that we need to attend to on the program. But thank you so much, most sincerely, for coming tonight on the program.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sean. I appreciate you.
Let's jump right into our next conversation. It's about the very grave loss in revenue from Nigeria to private hands in the area of oil theft. And so members of the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria earlier today commenced a nationwide protest over crude oil theft. Today, they took to the Unity Fountain in Abuja, where they observed the protest, carrying banners with inscriptions such as "Chasing oil thieves and vandals out of business and oil theft is illegal." The protest was led by the president of Pegasan, Mr. Festus Osifo, who said the president should give a marching order to heads of security agencies tasked with the security of oil pipelines in the Niger Delta. Yesterday, Mr. Osifo made some very far-reaching allegations in relation to oil theft in the country, saying that there is a connivance of some security personnel and some persons within the local communities where these oil are being stolen that are involved in the theft. I'm now being joined on the program tonight by first a security expert, a former director and the DSS, Mr. Dennis Amakri, who joins us live from New York virtually. Thank you so much, Mr. Amakri, for your time tonight. And thank you so much. It's good to see you tonight. And also we're being joined here in our studio by the president of Pengasan, Mr. Festus Osifo. Thank you so much, Mr. Osifo, for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much, Sheung. Yeah, good evening.
First and foremost, when I heard the soundbite where you were making the allegations, I wanted to know what evidence you have, because you are alleging that the security agencies and local communities could be culpable in these oil theft. What do you mean by that?
Yes, clearly, Sheung, you know, we are the workers in the oil and gas industry, and before today, we have actually been engaging all stakeholders as regarding this problem. We have engaged the regulators, we have engaged the operators, and we have also engaged the security chiefs. And today, our members walk across the creeks of the Niger Delta, and they see what is happening. This allegation is not just an allegation, but is something that even some of the players in the oil and gas industry, they have alluded to. That clearly, it is a total conspiracy. And that conspiracy goes from the host communities to the security personnel and to some of the people that are either working or have even retired in this industry. So, for you to be able to bust a pipeline, it takes a lot of sophistication. The pressure that goes into this pipeline is not 1, 2, 3, or 4 psi. At times, you have up to 5, 6, 700 psi. Just 30 psi could kill. So for you to be able to bust this pipeline, it needs a level of technology and a level of sophistication. Today, in the Niger Delta, the operators, they hire a lot of naval officers and a lot of soldiers to man this pipeline. And they pay them huge amount of allowances on a daily basis. But they cannot account for how these crude are being stolen.
This is a very weighty allegation you are making. So you're saying soldiers, 7 military operatives in Nigeria are aiding and abetting and helping, conniving, I think that's the right word.
Absolutely.
Conniving with these oil thieves.
True.
And these oil thieves are not unknown also.
Absolutely.
They are perhaps local people.
Yes, absolutely. So what we are calling for, Sheung, is that, because what is happening today, when you post these soldiers, let's say 500, 600, 700 of them, and the naval officers to these areas, when complaints are made, what they do in most cases is to change them. What we have said is that you cannot run a system and a nation like that. There must be consequence management. When there are infractions, people must be investigated, and at the end of the day, they must be prosecuted. Then, when you do that, when you send the next batches there, they would know that, okay, it's no longer business as usual.
So, but the federal government had taken a decision to give a contract to police to secure the pipeline.
Yes.
Do you praise that kind of decision by the federal government?
Yes, it was one of the advocacies that we have made over the years. Part of the advocacies that we made was that you should involve the host communities. Even beyond one individual company, there should be a multi-stakeholder approach that will bring in even the traditional rulers within that host communities. So if you see this pipeline at times, they pass it through the backyard of individuals. They pass it through the farmland of individuals. They pass it through the creeks where people ought to be carrying out fishing operations. So for you to be able to protect it very well, the host community must feel part of it. But more so, we must invest in technology. Because today we live in an era of artificial intelligence. We live in an era of the fourth industrial revolution.
Apologies. Let me allow the security expert here. You've heard of an operator in the industry, in these local communities, the Pengasan president talked about, and these are weighty allegations. From your own point of view, how difficult is it to police the pipelines and secure our oil? Because this is the mainstay of our economy. What do you think is happening, Mr. Amakri?
Thank you very much, Sean. You know, that pipeline, in fact, not only one, many of them. But I had the opportunity to supervise one of the longest ones, which is the NCTL. You know, and there are certain things that the public should know. I think it's high time the public knows this. You know, we are talking about the little rat when the big elephant in the house is left to do whatever he wants to do. Let me tell you, you have local people breaking the pipeline, or in fact, the pipeline themselves, which are very, very old, rusty, busting by themselves. And when they bust, the local people go there and, of course, scoop the oil. And then, of course, the bunkerers, the illegal bunkerers, go ahead and bunker as they want. Now, that is infinitesimal when it comes to the huge theft we're talking about. The huge theft. Now, remember, a week ago or so, the Navy captured a tanker having about 3 million barrels or liters of oil in it. That does not come from pipeline busting, which is just gathered together and then put in a ship. Now, even those ones, the batches that take them out are going to some other illegal markets. But what we're talking about and what I would want the security agencies to look at very, very closely is hydrocarbon accounting. Hydrocarbon accounting in the sense that Nigeria, as we stand, you know, the president of Pengasin is with you there, ask him, we don't know how many barrels of oil we produce in a year, in a day. And we don't even know how many barrels of oil we export in a day. So a lot of people at the wellhead or at the export terminal are loading different kinds of ships and they are selling it. And these people
but Mr. Makri, I mean, you are the expert here in terms of security. Is this how porous our waterways are? I mean, if they're loading these ships and ferrying out our oil, is that how porous? Because I understand that there is some surveillance, Mr. Osifo, on the pipelines. Where are those surveillance? They're supposed to be monitored, I mean, from somewhere. What is going on? What do you imagine is happening? Is it the sophistication Mr. Osifo was talking about?
So there is pipeline surveillance, which is carried out by the natives or the people that are living along the pipeline. That's fine. And then, of course, you know, some companies have been urged to even use technology, drones, to monitor the pipelines. But what I'm telling you is that the loss we are getting along the pipeline is very small as compared to the one that is being stolen at the export terminals. And I'll tell you another one. Offshore, ships have been found. You know, security boats have seen ships coming down there, hooking up to the Christmas tree, offshore, load up and leave without even, you know, anybody knowing about it. So you find out that there is collusion either with the IOCs or with very, very senior officials.
So quickly, Mr. Makri, talk to us about the contract that the federal government has given to police the pipeline, the recent one.
Yeah, Tompolo has been given that contract to look after the pipeline. In fact, that's not the only one. You know, there are about three or four other contracts to surveil pipelines in Nigeria. You know, and the one Tompolo had, the NCTL, is just one of them, just one. Now, all these ones are done in a way to placate the, you know, the local people so that they will not go ahead and start breaking the pipelines.
All right.
But I still maintain that that particular loss from pipeline is small as compared to the real one that is stolen out of this country.
Mr. Osifo, where do we go from here? What must the federal government do immediately?
Yeah, the first thing is that I'm not quite sure that Mr. Amakili understood clearly how the operations work. Today, A lot of companies, they have shut down their operations. They don't pump crude into the pipeline again. Some of them, what they do is that some of the wells that are called associated wells, where you have gas and where you have crude, they produce the gas and they produce the crude. The crude are now injected back into the wells because they don't pump them into the pipeline. So the stealing along the pipeline is huge. It is not infinitesimal, as he has said. We have done research. We have members, we have the data, we have members that work there every day. But this is what happened. When you say 400,000 barrels of crude is missing, what happened is that some of this crude, you are calculating the shut in. For example, Adas OML 124 is shut down today. For example, Obagi of Total, OML 58, is shut down today. You have the same thing in Ajib. So they are shutting down production. They are not pumping into the line. Because by the time you pump into the line, when you get to the terminal, a lot of them you cannot account for. So it is not true that what is being missing from the pipeline is actually infinitesimal. That statistics and that fact, and that allusion is not correct. So where do we go from here? Our position is that government must act. First of all, quickly. We like the fact that they have done this award of contract. It's good to the host community. But the security officers, there must be marching order for the security officers, and there must be consequence management. The chief of naval staff said that, oh, there was a vessel that was caught. But this was what we noticed. A lot of barges are going to these areas, and they are loading and moving crude out of the shores of Nigeria. So for us, it is not just to make a soundbite. Once in 1 month, once in 2 months, we should get our hands to work in order for us to prevent this menace.
Who is buying?
Absolutely.
There must be corporate.
Absolutely.
In 30 seconds, Mr. Amakri, if you can give us, where do we go from here? If you're advising the federal government today, what must be done?
I think, you see, we are not going to say that we have to find out the root cause and where these things is happening. You cannot, Osifo cannot say that 3 million barrels of oil or whatever filled up in that tanker was just from pipelines. So where did it come from? You know, we have other means of stealing, and there are others that are happening at the export terminal. There are others that are happening along the pipeline, you know, for illegal bunkering. And then, of course, offshore, at the Christmas trees, you know, he knows what I'm talking about.
All right.
There are all kinds of people that are coming in and stealing. So what we have to do, if I have to suggest, is to create an exclusion zone for our oil production platforms.
All right. Thank you so much.
An exclusion zone which has to be monitored strictly.
Thank you so much. We're terribly out of time. Thank you so much, Mr. Dennis Amakri. It's good to see you. And the Pengisam President, it's good to have you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the thought you've shared.
Thank you so much.
Well, that's our show for tonight, everyone. Of course, we continue our coverage of the incident of the death of the British monarch, the Queen Elizabeth II, who died at 96. Today was reigned for 70 years. Stay with us right here on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimale. It's bye for now.